supervise well. Dear students, in today's class, we shall learn about the foreign invasions which occurred during the 6th century BC. So, what are they? During this period, there sprang up city-states in Greece. Ancient Persia had grown into a powerful empire. So slowly what has been started to spread and got to establish here? City-states. So the first being the Greece, and slowly it has been grown up into the form of what? The great empires, the powerful kingdoms and the powerful dynasties. So where is Greece located? Greece is located in the Europe with the southeastern part, whereas the ancient Persia is the present day called as the Iran. So these things has been become slowly the powerful empires. These two areas engaged in the continual conflicts. There are regular conflicts. Conflicts are nothing but what here children? Fights or the quarrels. Among whom? Between these Greece and as well as ancient Persia. So what were the reasons for the quarrels? The Achaemenians were one group who ruled Persia in 6th century BCE. King Darius, can you see his image here? Who belonged to the dynasty called as Achaemenid dynasty, established a strong empire. His kingdom extended up to the Indian border during his time. So this is the person who was one of the powerful ruler among this dynasty, and during his rule he has extended his dynasty until touching the border called as India. So that was his bravery and that was his achievement during this period. In 4th century BCE, 4th century again we are marking with the 400 to 301 is the duration of 4th century BCE. What happened during that time? The Macedonian king called as Alexander, who is famous in the history of the world as Alexander the Great. He won over the Greek city-states and he has also captured the Persia. So these are the places which have been invaded by him. Invasions are nothing but what children? Attacks. Making the places to get attacked and conquering those areas. So in this angle, who have come? The king called as Alexander the Great. So what are the achievements made by him? What are the places occupied by him? Firstly, he has won over the Greek city and later on he has captured the Persia as well. After overpowering the Persia, Alexander entered into the India through the passes in Kandahar. Kandahar is located a famous city in the country called as Afghanistan, and the Hindu Kush, which is a 800-kilometer lengthy mountain. So he advanced till Ravi and Bias rivers. Advancing means what children? He went further through the routes of Afghanistan by passing the mountain called Hindu Kush. Thereafter he entered through the rivers called as, these rivers called as Ravi, Bias rivers. These are the tributaries of the main river called as Indus River. And unable to proceed further when he started to step into the borders of Pakistan and touching the borders of the India. Later he crossed the Indian border through the river Jhelum. Here the river Jhelum is also the tributary of the river called as Indus. So during this time when Alexander the Great have given the visit or attack or invasion towards India, the river Jhelum was the most mighty one. It was a swollen river with the mighty waves, and as well as the river was having its wilderness when he was about to invade the India. On his way back home, he died at Babylonia. So that was not that simple which made him to remember in the entire history. He had made an achievement, children. Why is the Alexander the Great known everywhere in the history of the world? Because of his achievements. People or most of the kingdoms were very much terrored to see his army because such mighty and such powerful and such brave army his was. So he had made the attacks here and there in the almost all the countries of the world. So wherever he goes, he had the victorious results only. So that made him to become so famous in the history. But the thing is, when he had been to India in order to make the attacks towards here also, he came across with one of the most powerful king called as Paurava, or he is called as the King Porus. The king Porus was not even allowed Alexander the Great to enter into India through the ways called as River Jhelum. So most of the army of Alexander was also scared to enter into India to fight against the Porus, even though the battle was held between Alexander the Great and his army with the king called as Porus, who was an Indian king ruling at Jhelum. So with this mighty army, with this harsh battle, which stood on the banks of the river Jhelum, continued for many days, but finally the victory was in the account of Alexander the Great. But the thing here to be remembered and admired was Alexander was so much impressed by the bravery of the king Porus. So he gave an open offer to Porus that to ask a wish, as though he is not victorious in the battle, but he has given a chance to ask for the wish. Then the Porus has given that treat me like how a king will be treated to the other kings. So that kind of demandable person Porus was, and that strong he was. So what did he say? Treat me like the king how treats for the others. So, but what was the lesson we learned from the life of Alexander the Great is at the last days of him, when he has died at Babylonia, he was suffering with a disease. So here and there he had come across with the various people who couldn't find the medicine for his disease. So finally, what was the message he wanted to give for his people? And the last wish of Alexander the Great was when he is being placed, that is, his body is about to placed into the coffin. So he always wanted, his last wish is he wanted his two hands to be out of the coffin. So what was the inner meaning behind this incident is he wanted to know for those people who are following his dead body where the coffin is carried at the beginning. So he wanted to give a message to the people who is following his dead body, that is, we would take birth on this earth with empty hands and will definitely go die with our empty hands. So at least this message should be reached to the people, because at the final stage of his life he realized one thing, that though he is so brave, though he is so achievous, but he could not take anything which he wanted to take in. So that was the message which was taught by his life and as well as his death. So by this we have completed the chapter called Rise of Buddhism and Jainism, with special reference to the early life of Gautam Buddha, the early life of Mahavira, their teachings and as well as their preachings. Thank you.